You seem uncomfortable. Do it make you nervous, Corky?
No.
Thirsty, maybe.
Curious, maybe.
That's funny. I'm feeling a little bit curious myself.
I'll lie down here. Then you tie my hands together with my scarf. I'll place one wrist over the other. That's the proper way. Then you tie my ankles together with your necktie. Then you strike.
Welcome to Pleasers
and Punishers,
where we talk about movies that people love to watch.
Movies that ruin your today, tomorrow, and yesterday.
and all things kinky and queer.
I'm Caitlin of the North.
I'm May. Usually the cover is more promising than the inside, Schultz.
And I'm Amanda Jane Stern, here to extol the virtues of an orgasm a day to stave off indigestion.
And today we're discussing how many mannequins are too many mannequins for your murder mannequin room, and why is the answer there are never too many mannequins? With Identikit from 1974, directed by Giuseppe Petroni Griffi. Known homo, by the way.
I love that that's our vernacular now.
Yep.
Known
homo.
I know, we've done
Twice this
Yes. March
I'm sure it'll
Madness.
continue.
Yes.
George Cukor. No.
George Cucker?
And we've already lost it.
Yep. Oh, wonderful. This movie was written by Raffaele La Capria, based off the novella by Muriel Spark, The Driver's Seat, music by Franco Manino, and starring Elizabeth Taylor and nobody else. I'm not going to name anyone. Sure, I can name Mona Washburn or Ian Rannon, or even maybe, Andy Warhol, but I'm not going to. It's just Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh my God, Julian clocked Andy Warhol immediately. He was like, Andy Warhol, what?
It's not his voice, though.
No, it definitely
Which
isn't.
which is very strange. All right, before we get into it, tell me, would you wear Lisa's dress? And Amanda, I feel like I know your answer.
I would totally wear that dress.
Yeah, same. I think that would look amazing on either one of us.
Yeah, we have the curvy figure.
I just like having attention. I dress very loudly, usually in my life. So, yeah.
I don't think any of us are muted dressers.
No. Which is funny because right now we're all wearing black or gray.
Gray, yep.
But it's also 11 a.m. Chicago time, 9 a.m. Seattle time, and noon New York time.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, we're all at home.
Yeah.
I woke up 2 hours ago.
Oh my God. But no, I feel like when we all go out, we're not the people who are walking through the world looking to take up the littlest amount of space and not be noticed. We're like aggressively taking up space.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially with my tits.
Do you walk like with your tits leading?
Oh, 100%. I've been made fun of for it by my friends. Especially like if I'm just wearing a nightie like what I'm wearing right now and I'm walking through my apartment from like the kitchen to the living room, I will like strut tits first.
Yes.
Would you ever wear a stain-resistant dress?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, of course.
All of my friends are super messy eaters, and sometimes their food ends up on me somehow. And like, I'm occasionally a messy eater, especially if I'm like high sitting on the couch. But yeah, why wouldn't you want a stain-resistant dress? That's like the one question I have in this movie. Why is she mad about it being stain-resistant?
Because it implies that she is slovenly.
Oh.
I had a different theory, but yes.
Yeah, I thought it was because she wanted the blood to stain it.
That is why I thought
you're probably right, actually.
That was my theory, too. She wanted to make the biggest statement possible.
Oh, my God.
What are we even talking about?
Well, speaking of blood, let's get into some role play.
Is that your bathing suit? Is that your overbite?
Now, one of you will be the drowning victim, and the other one gets to be our lifesaver.
I'll be the victim. all your life.
Sorry. Horny for vampires, always. Not that this is a vampire movie. This is, in fact, not a vampire movie, so let's find out what it is. Elizabeth Taylor's character, Lise, tries on a dress with a natural blend of colors, then, as we said, flips out upon discovering that it's stain-resistant.
Just
Gay
cannot.
Gasp.
Out.
Gasp.
How dare you?
In damn spot. At home, she calls her friend Margot to let her know that she's heading off on vacation because she needs some relief after an intense breakdown. At the airport, Lise helps a woman choose a pulp novel that's the most sadomasochistic before causing a small scene at the security checkpoint and declaring that she cannot stand to be touched.
I love how all of those yellow covers, all those Jollos, I was like, oh, I'm getting this so much more this time around than I did the first time.
Oh my God, those. And also all the Agatha Christie's in there.
Which I'm sure, Caitlin, you were like, ugh.
I was paying attention because I love pulp novel covers anyway.
Oh, the covers are
Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix is such a beautiful book if you like that art style.
I love that art style, and I'm really there's a book that I just bought, but it's a reprint of an old book that only had one publishing in when it came out, which I think is the 80s, and the new cover sucks. I hate it. It sucks balls. But
I hate
the original,
it when they do that with books.
The original cover is really cool, but it's $100 on eBay. I'm not spending that. So Julian was like, "It's okay. Buy the book, and we'll get it rebound with a better cover."
Oh, I love that. Smart man. On the plane, one of the men next to Lise anxiously switches seats to escape her presence, but he doesn't know why. In a flash forward, he is questioned about their interactions by the police in Rome. Bill, the man on Lisa's other side, behaves disgustingly toward her. When they land in Rome, a man runs through the terminal, knocking people over, grabbing and dragging a woman, before eventually being shot. Then Andy Warhol, it's pronounced Warhol. I know that from the David Bowie song, Andy Warhol, where Andy Warhol talks at the beginning of the song about how to pronounce his name. Then Andy Warhol hands Lise the book she dropped before she leaves with Bill in his car for some fucking reason.
Andy Warhol note, there's a movie called The Telephone Book from 1971 that originally opened with a clip of him sitting, looking into the camera, eating popcorn, and kind of introducing the movie. That footage has been lost.
Oh, no.
And I'm very sad about that. But just, that's my aside. Also, I aspire to one day tell a man that he looks like Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother after she's been eaten by the wolf.
That's incredible.
I absolutely thought that the guy who switched seats was because of Bill the first time around.
Right? You would think so.
I gotta get out of here. You are gross. But I'm gonna leave. I'm just gonna leave this woman to fend for herself. Goodbye.
Yep.
Well, Pierre.
Oh, we'll get back to Pierre. Bill continues to attempt to convince Lise that they should hook up because he needs to have an orgasm a day on his macrobiotic diet, but she's not having it.
Good for her.
He drops her off at her hotel, raw rice falling out of his pants, and another flash forward shows the police questioning him in his hotel room in bed about Lise. I love that scene.
I need the stuff. The rice.
In her room, Lise listens to exuberant classical piano music and feels herself up before summoning the maid and berating her for a dirty glass in the bathroom.
Hot.
Another hotel guest is questioned in a flash forward, disturbed by Lisa's energy, stating there was something of a prostitute in her.
How Butterfield-y.
Right? No sale, sir. No sale.
In a taxi, Lise makes friends with her fellow passenger, Mrs. Helen Fiedke, and tucks her passport into the seat. That'll keep it safe. The two ladies visit a department store, which is mostly empty due to a bomb that went off the day before in Department 7. I cannot believe the store is even open.
Right? How is there not still police activity?
Just another day, you know.
Where Lise buys a bag and steals a scarf, and Helen declares that her nephew and Lise are meant for each other.
Dun, dun,
Dun,
dun.
dun, dun.
Out on the street, a man tosses a grenade under the car of a foreign ambassador, causing it to explode. The pedestrians scatter in fear, and Lise is knocked to the ground. She ends up, this is a little bit out of order, but I'm going to tell it like it's in order.
Yeah.
She ends up at an auto garage, and a man who works there named Carlo tries to help clean the grease off of her jacket and then gives her a ride in his car where he sexually assaults her, but then she steals his fucking car.
Yes, she
because
does.
she is amazing.
I just wish she ran him over, too.
Oh,
Just a little.
absolutely.
Or just completely, whichever.
Every time she'd end up in a car with a man, Julian would be like, is she going to stab him now?
Who's getting shanked?
Who's getting shanked? Lise gets directions to the Hilton from a parking enforcement agent. At least I think that's what he was.
That Hilton reference that they drop, because Elizabeth Taylor's first husband was Conrad Hilton, which was an awful marriage, by the way. I was just, though, immediately, I'm like, excuse me, you're going to the Hilton. Was this saying something? Was this a little nod to that?
Do you carry a gun?
She asks him if he carries a revolver because if he did, he could shoot her. In the lounge of the Hilton, she orders a scotch, then runs back into Andy Warhol, who says a bunch of weird shit.
No, never.
For some reason, Lise gets back together with Bill, and they drive through the park. Despite her insistence that she has no interest in having sex with him, he attempts to initiate things before she brushes him off.
Oh, macrobiotic Bill.
I must have an orgasm a day, or else I get indigestion.
No, it's if he has 2 in one day to make up for a missed day, then he gets indigestion. Which I was like,
That's sad.
I've had like, I think the most I ever got in one day was like 4, which is pretty impressive. And I didn't get indigestion.
No, I've definitely had multiple in a day and not had indigestion. In fact, I feel like it helps with...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like house cleaning.
You get the endorphins, the oxytocin starts rushing.
I think he just really wants to fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe rice makes you horny.
Maybe rice makes you gassy if you're Bill.
Does it? Does it?
I have no idea. I've never been on a macrobiotic diet.
We'll find out a bit more about macrobiotic diets and why they might cause gas.
Oh, excellent. Okay, questions will be answered. The nervous man from the plane arrives at the hotel, and it turns out he's Pierre, Helen's nephew.
Yes.
Before he can go up to see his aunt, Lise convinces him to join her for a walk in the woods. She gifts Pierre the small dagger that Helen had purchased at the department store, then lays out her detailed plan for him to tie her up and stab her repeatedly. He begins to follow her instructions, becomes aroused, does a couple steps in the wrong order, but ultimately kills Lise as she desired. All right, tell me, would you have been afraid of Lise if you met her?
She definitely gives off some maybe stay away vibes. I mean, I aspire to be able to just look at people and terrify them that way.
Don't talk to me. I have people come up and just talk to me randomly.
Same.
Like when I used to smoke and hang out outside bars, I have people just all the time come up and just start telling me like their stories and then start crying a lot of the times. So yes, that idea of like, stay away. That would be great. Thank you. What do I look like? I want to talk to you. And why is that?
I do not have resting bitch face, unfortunately.
No, you have resting friendly face.
I know. I hate it.
Yeah, I have the same thing. It's why people walk up to me in stores and ask me for help because they think I work there.
Yeah, May, you don't have resting bitch face.
No.
And Caitlin doesn't really either.
No. I don't even think I can make a bitchy face when I'm trying to. Like, I usually just look sad. And if I look angry, I don't look like a bitch. I still look sad.
I look tired. If I try to do resting, I just look tired.
Yeah.
Oh, I can bring that out. I can get very, very mad. I don't know if I would have been afraid of her.
Intimidated?
Maybe intimidated. I definitely don't think I would have gone up to her and just started talking. I really wanted to fix her hair the whole time. That was the part
Me too.
that just got to me the most. I was like, girl, you need to wash that. It is the amount of hairspray that you look like you have been wearing for days. That was mainly the part for me.
Oh my God, the hair and all the eyeliner.
Ugh, yes.
The eyeliner that brought me back to middle school. Emo days of overdoing black eyeliner.
So I would not have been afraid of Lise, and I think I would have been really drawn to her energy, not in the way that these men are, where they see her as damaged and someone to take advantage of. I definitely am an I can fix her type person, and I'm trying to break that habit because it is not my job to fix other people. It's my job to work on my stuff and be supportive for the people I care about.
Yes.
But I'm also someone, and I've talked about this before, I've been dealing with SI since I was about 8 years old. So for over 30 years now, I understand that feeling. And I have recognized that in other people in the past. And there's something just so beautiful and sad about how she goes through the events of the film. And I think that if I ran into her, I would have some kind of understanding. I don't know if I would be able to go through with what she wanted me to do because I don't like actually permanently harming people. But I think I would be tempted to join her on her journey. You know, maybe we help each other with that if I'm in the wrong place emotionally when I met her. And I realize that's a really heavy answer, but it's the truth, and you know, I'm always speaking my truth.
I will say all of her interactions with women were very positive. Well, for the most part, except when she is yelling at the shop ladies. But mostly, with Helen or with the woman, which book should I get? You know, it was very...
I think what it is that anyone who's in a service position, she sees as a bit beneath her, which I would not vibe with that, obviously. But anyone else who is a woman, she doesn't have an immediate problem with. Anyway.
But she does just get into a bunch of cars with random men.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And of course, we realize why she's seeking out the man who is going to give her what she wants. She's trying to find the man who she thinks has the matching piece almost. And all of these men are
terrible.
I'm going to deviant in their own way,
yes.
But not in a complimentary way to her. Is how I will put that.
Yeah. And Amanda, this was your first watch. So what did you think?
Okay, so I know I texted you going into this that I wasn't looking it up, and I was going into it thinking, okay, it's March Madness. I'm really nervous. This is going to be a gaslighting movie with a woman who is maybe a little unstable, and everyone is just telling her she's crazy, and I'm gonna be so angry at everybody. I was thrilled that was not what this movie was. I was so along for the ride. I was putting the clues together as it was happening. I had so many theories. And then I realized what the parallel story structure was doing and what it was telling me. And I was like, oh, shit. And then I had so many other ideas.
Yep. And I know you have some questions later about how the story unfolds and like what you suspect as it unfolds. So we'll hold on to that for now.
Yes, I know. I'm all playing this very close to the vest until I get to those questions.
Yeah, no, and I love that. Caitlin, you had seen this before, right?
I had. I think I saw it when it first landed on Shudder. I'm going to guess a friend who was the same friend who told me about the devils, who told me about possession. When have you seen the Elizabeth Taylor psychological thriller that is on Shudder? And I went, no, I'm watching it right now.
So what did you
everything.
think on that initial watch, and how did it work for you on a rewatch?
It's on the initial watch, kind of the same as Amanda. I was like, what is for me, it was more, what is happening and where is this going? And of course, I thought that we were talking about that she had committed a crime as we kind of go through in the structure. And again, as it starts to reveal itself, it's like a mind explosion at the end when you do get the reveal of what the story has been leading up to. And on the second watch, being able, like I said, to pick out what is going on, where this is going, how brilliantly the plot lines the timelines all kind of connect and interspersed with each other, and how it does keep you very much in the dark until it wants to tell you what's going on. I got a lot more out of it, I think, the second time, because I wasn't necessarily my brain wasn't like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Where's this going? Where's this going?
Yeah, the element of anticipation is lessened on a second watch. And I think that allows you to see all the clues and be like, oh, this is really smart, the way that they did this. And my first watch was last year. My friend Sylvia had seen the movie probably on Shudder, and she loved it so much that she bought it, and she brought the Blu-ray over, and she was like, you are going to love this movie, May. And we put it on, and I was just, like you said, Amanda, very along for the ride. Yeah. I was not in the driver's seat. I was in the passenger seat, which is unusual for me because I drive all of my friends everywhere. That's not a complaint. I like getting people places safely. Anyway.
I'm a passenger princess.
Yeah.
I don't have a driver's license.
Neither do I.
Hey! Woo!
Okay, so road trip, I will drive the whole time.
Yes.
Y'all can control music.
I'm so down.
As soon as we put the movie on, I was completely entranced. And I was just so under the spell of it the whole time. And when that reveal happens, it is just a fucking gut punch. And it was especially difficult because when we watched it at the time last year, I was in a pretty bad place and my SI was kind of flaring up. And I started sobbing, which, not unusual for me watching a movie with emotional impact. And it had the same impact this time, even though I knew it was coming. And we're recording this on Friday. I watched it yesterday morning. Wednesday, I had kind of an emotional night and I cried 3 times. And then when I watched this movie yesterday morning, when it got to the end, I started crying again. I was like, cool, I've cried 4 times in less than 24 hours. I'm doing great. But it was also a little cathartic because my SI is not up right now. I'm finally doing a little better, and I'm hesitant to even say that out loud. But I absolutely love this movie, and I'm excited to delve more into it. So let's discuss its context in our next section, Faith and Chance.
I can't exist by myself because I'm afraid of myself, because I'm the maker of my own evil. Goodness is only some kind of reflection upon evil. That's all it is.
All right, friends, take me away.
Okay, so this movie is from 1974. So let's talk about what was going on in movies at the time. 1970s cinema, super heavily influenced by social and cultural events and attitudes. We saw the rise in sexploitation flicks because of the sexual revolution. So you get Movies like The Telephone Book, you get the Erotic Adventures series, which has Erotic Pinocchio, Erotic Robinson Crusoe, Erotic Zorro. I'm sure there are more.
It's not in the series, but Jess Franco has a movie called The Erotic Rites of Frankenstein.
Oh.
And it's pretty good. You got a big silver Frankenstein who... It's weird, but it's great. And he's like forced into being a dom and has to like whip people at one point.
Oh my God.
And I got to see that in the theater last year. It was great.
Wunderbar.
You also have, blaxploitation movies, The Beast Must Die, and then it's the conspiracy thrillers, The Conversation, 3 Days of the Condor. This movie is Italian. And we've discussed this a little bit when we talked about The Night Porter, but Italian cinema at this time was very, very, very interested. Current events, recent history, saw a slew of World War II set movies exploring fascism and Nazism through a psychosexual lens. And more than that, Freudian psychoanalytic thought was all the rage, especially in a place like Italy in the 1970s. And that kind of looking at everything through this sexual lens permeates a lot of Italian cinema. And you can see that in, again, the movies we've already discussed, but also very heavily in this movie.
And I find really interesting at this time as well as in Elizabeth Taylor's career, this is when she was kind of on a down slump. She was getting divorced from Richard Burton for the first time. She was aging. So she was not getting the roles that she had been getting. She had gained weight. She looks so fucking incredible in this movie that is insane to me.
She's my height. So any extra pound, you get called like, oh, chubby. But no, she's just curvy. She has huge tits. Like it's the exact same body type that I have. So like any extra pound, yeah, my tits just keep getting bigger. but I'm also 5'2".
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think I have... I know y'all talked about her wild hair, but I don't think I've ever been more attracted to Elizabeth Taylor than I am in this movie. She's gorgeous, and the way she carries herself,
she walks tits first,
in spite of her death wish, is incredible. And I think that's another thing that I would find like alluring about her because confidence is so fucking sexy.
She has something of the prostitute in her.
Just a little bit.
Just a touch.
A treat.
It's called having big boobs.
I remember, oh God, it was so like, I don't think it was Kenneth Anger, but I think it was a photographer at the time had said something like, Marilyn Monroe, oh, she's so beautiful, that Elizabeth Taylor vulgar with like tits like a cow or something. And it was like, excuse you.
Whoa.
I was like...
See, and this is why sometimes gay men should not be allowed to comment on women's bodies.
And I'm vulgar, but I am not a monster.
I also do not know who said that, but I do know the quote you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And so I'll go to flip these two macrobiotic diets because I was like, what the fuck is this? Why is this? Why did he choose this? Why is this guy so into this? What is the purpose of this macrobiotic diet? And
why is he carrying bags of rice in his pockets?
Is that rice in your pants, or are you just happy to see me?
The hole just starts leaking out the bottom of his pants.
It's incredible.
It's like instead of sperm, he shoots off rice.
Mm-hmm. This is some nonsense. I'm just gonna say, if anyone's on a macrobiotic diet, I think this is some nonsense. This is nonsense. It was started in Japan and kind of really took hold in like the 1930s, but didn't become extremely popular until like the 1960s. So it was by George Osawa and Michio Kushi. And it's actually based on the Buddhist principles of like balancing yin and yang, which is why he brings it up a bunch. Our old macrobiotic Bill.
Orgasms are yang!
With certain foods being yin, others being yang. And this is like a diet and a lifestyle. So it's not just you are eating, you are striving towards like total mind, body, spiritual alignment. And in the 60s, 70s, the most strict variation of the diet was the Zen macrobiotic diet, which claimed to, cure things like epilepsy, syphilis, cancer. It is used a lot.
Are modern day anti-vaxxers.
And people still do this and will be like, yes, this cures your cancer. It does not. Spoiler alert, it does not cure cancer. That's not how that works. The original, most restrictive one was the 10 stages. And the last stage of these, so I couldn't find a whole lot of information on what the 10 stages were. And I think it is because they opened the Cushy Institute in the 1970s. It didn't close until 2017, but they still sell these. I think it's now a 7-point diet. So you can't find a whole lot of information on the internet for free about this. The last stage, you just get minimal water and herbal tea and basically brown rice.
So basically how we torture prisoners.
Yeah. It's emphasizes whole grains above all else, legumes, seaweed and fermented soy products,
So this is why you'd be gassy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm about to start singing the Food Pyramid song from Clone High, even though Marilyn Manson sings it in the episode. But it's still a great song.
I'm about to start doing a pirate voice for a factoid we have coming up. So.
So also that you minimize, you don't eat meat. This is highly vegetarian. You can sometimes have white fish. But also that makes sense with Buddhism. Some fruits, but really you're minimal kind of fruits. It is really grain and bean focused from what I read a lot of. And in 1965, someone on this died of scurvy.
Ahoy, matey!
Of scurvy in 1965. If anyone has read If Chins Could Kill, Bruce Campbell, who just did announce that he has treatable, not curable cancer. So, love Bruce Campbell so much.
That's so sad.
He talks about in college, a roommate of a roommate or someone he was living with, I can't remember, ended up getting scurvy because all they were eating was mac and cheese out of box.
Back in college, I studied abroad at Queen Mary in London. A friend of mine knew a guy who was also a student there who got scurvy because at the beginning of term, he just made a whole bunch of hard-boiled eggs and he ate that and toast every single day. And that was it.
When I was really, really, one of the many times I was really, really poor, I had bought a gigantic thing of pepperoncinis. Mm-hmm. And I also hate commercial tomatoes. They taste like racism and nothing else. I would get a really big burrito and I would be yes, give me the pico de gallo, even though I hate it and I don't think it tastes good. Also, I may have brought this up before, but the reason those tomatoes tasted so bad was because there was a man who actually did not want brown people touching his produce, so he came up with the machine to pick tomatoes commercially. Mm. And so that meant that tomatoes were not then being bred for taste. They were being bred so they could be picked by a machine. So that's why I say those tomatoes taste like racism, because they became the prevalent tomato in the United States because of racism.
I mean, yeah, the beefsteak ones are gross. They have no flavor. They're just mushy.
Yep.
Yeah, I hate it when I get a tomato on a burger at a restaurant and it's a slice of beefsteak tomato. Yeah, I'm just never mind.
See, because I'm in New York, that's not... I mean, okay, maybe if you're fast food it is, but if you go to a pub, that's not the predominant tomato we sell because it is a local... from New Jersey is where a lot of tomatoes are grown. Huh. So we're getting, it's a lot more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have tomato season. It's like a bit tomato and corn. Huh. You get sweet summer corn. It's a local crop.
Now I want to make like I had veggie burgers for dinner last night that I made, but now I want like a really good veggie burger with a side of sweet corn on the cob and like a nice heirloom tomato slice on my burger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, heirloom is kind of the go-to around here.
Go.
That's usually what...
They're
I don't know
so
the last
good.
time I even saw a beefsteak tomato.
And I ate it because I was so terrified of getting scurvy because I had no money for food. So I was eating like burrito or, I mean, the burrito was great. I'm not knocking the burrito. It was gigantic. You could get like 3 meals out of that.
Yeah.
But yes, terrified of getting scurvy because I was doing that and like eating Pringles and drinking green tea and smoking cloves because it was the early 2000s.
Oh God, I would have been in love with you.
Oh my God.
There was me and two other people, and we were all walking down the hallway one time, and we're all in black. And this guy was just like, "Look at all the Buffies." And we were like,
That's incredible.
"Yep, thank you."
I dressed like a pinup girl every day in high school.
I would have been in love with you
I was
too.
so goth. I was so
Nay, I would have
goth.
been intimidated by you. I would have thought you were too cool.
Oh my God, I was friends with so many different types of people in high school because I was just nice to everybody.
I was
which
a loner.
Of course, yeah, and I
was not
absolutely,
friends with very many different types.
Amanda, I absolutely would have befriended you, and we would have been like exchanging books and watching movies together. But I also would have had a giant fucking crush on you.
I mean, as I've said before, I moved around every 2 years, so I was always new. And high school, yes, I dressed a lot of corsets. I had these pleather purple pants.
Oh, I would have been obsessed with that.
As I was called, very distracting, tight, red leopard print, like velvet pants.
Oh my God. I didn't wear pants. It was skirts and dresses. Every like cinched waist.
Oh my God.
Every single day.
And then I would fuck off during lunch, like go read poetry with some of my friends, and we would go through and be like, this is what we think this means. This is we were like dissecting poetry and looking up words in the Oxford Dictionary for fun. This is the person I was.
No, Caitlin, I carried
And mad,
freshman
just
year. I
mad.
carried around Lolita. Sophomore year,
Yeah.
Dorian Gray.
Yeah. No one liked me.
Middle school and junior high, it was either Francesca Leah Block or Shakespeare.
Yep, Shakespeare. I had the Shakespeare.
Yeah, freshman year of high school, it was Poppy Z Bright and then some other stuff. Yeah, I mean, I would sit with my headphones on at lunch a lot of the time, just like reading some fucked up, horny book, even though I was not having sex.
That's why we're reading the horny books.
fucked
No,
up,
I was
yeah.
like
That's
true.
making notes in the margins of my Nabokov copies, so I have multiple.
This was all Sylvia Plath, Anne Sexton,
Oh,
my
Emily
God.
Dickinson. And then I got really into the beat poets. So like Allen Ginsberg was what I was like.
Boo.
I'm
Yeah.
walking around
Sorry,
like beat.
good poet, terrible human being.
Horrible
yeah.
person.
Oh.
He would have gotten
Such
along
some-
with Humbert. Let's put it that way.
I have the unabridged diaries or journals of Sylvia Plath, and when I was in high school, I did a lot of stream of consciousness writing because my brain was so fucked up. I just needed to get things out of it. And I would write things, and then I would start reading Sylvia Plath's journal entries. And word for word, there were things that came out of my brain that were in her entries. And I was like, how did that happen? What the fuck? Am I channeling the ghost of Sylvia Plath? It was
I
very
know the worst book I
disconcerting.
carried around junior year. The Marquis de Sade.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I feel like I was carrying around like Venus and Furs at one
Oh
point.
my God,
You know,
yes.
so
I was
edgy.
carrying around Justine.
So
I wrote an
edgy.
essay on it in my AP comp class. And the look my teacher gave me, because I got away with so much shit because I could write a paper. So they like couldn't tell me, hey, Amanda, don't end your paper with genitals first.
I walk into the room, pussy first.
I had to write a paper on rhetoric. And Justine, in the Marquis de Sade's Justine. So I was talking about the rhetoric in his book, and I ended it with, like, people who agree with him would, like, jump head first, or for the sake of de Sade, genitals first into vice.
Amazing.
Okay. We are so off track.
I was going to say, and, you know, speaking, as we've been talking about a lot of things, people who are writing in the 60s through the 80s, what I do feel like the most important actual cultural context of this, talked a lot about this already in our episode on Don't Torture a Duckling, but did feel like it was important to just do a short summary again of the years of lead. So this was a huge time of political turmoil in Italy, pretty much 1968 to 1988. This was categorized by a lot of sectarian violence, mostly right-wing, if you go back and listen, because there was a lot, even though there were left-wing actors in this, there was a lot of thought that they were being infiltrated by right-wing. But the right-wing orders were, like the New Order, a lot of the right-wing fascists, because they were anti-communist, they were being supported and upheld by the U.S. and Britain.
Of course.
And so that is why you think that she may have, like, kind of is centered around what you think this crime is that she may have committed, and all the violence around, and the car bombings. And actually, one of the major bombings of these years of lead happened 8 days after the movie premiered.
Wow.
8
Holy
days.
shit.
And it was carried out by the right-wing New Order with U.S. backing. They knew it was going to happen.
Of course they did.
They didn't intervene at all. And I mean, again, like, a lot of the police were in on it.
Yeah.
A lot of the politicians are in on it. They were all backing these fascist groups, you know, because communism, that just is the worst.
Oh boy. Well, what influence did this have in our culture?
Well, so this, it wasn't released in the UK until 2023, which kind of blew my mind. And not until the Blu-ray.
Thank you, Severin. And
Yes.
thank you,
Wow.
Kayla Janice, for the House of Psychotic Women box set.
So much for it being too commercial.
Right? Yeah, it was supposed to premiere at the Cannes Film Festival, and it was rejected for being too commercial, too digital.
But then Grace Kelly, she screened it. She hosted the premiere.
They did their own premiere that had way more stars because it's Elizabeth fucking Taylor and Andy Warhol.
There you go.
Thank you. I feel like I've talked about mannequin rooms on the show before. I don't know if I have.
Yes,
I love a mannequin
because
room.
in the other hell, there was the mannequin room.
Yes, love a mannequin room. I very much
There's all the
felt-
mannequins in blood and black lace as well. That's
Yes.
huge.
Yeah, I cannot wait to cover that for Giallo January
That
next
movie
year.
is so much fun.
I fucking love that movie.
I mean, the mannequin room in the newest Halloween from 2018 is great. That's a great mannequin room. That was when I was like, ugh, I only have 2 mannequins. I can't believe it. But it's very reminiscent, even though the time, I don't know if Peter Strickland had seen Identikit.
Oh, I guarantee
Probably.
Peter
He
Strickland had seen
must have had,
Identikit.
because it is so, like the mannequins in particular are so similar to In Fabric, where there are mannequins in this department store. I have In Fabric on our list because I love half of that movie.
Only what?
No, I'm going to say I love half of the movie.
Yeah, the perspective change is odd, but I'm excited to rewatch it because I watched it the first time a couple months ago and I fucking loved it.
And we should put this, I'm going to put this movie on our list because suddenly last summer,
I have the poster.
I don't even
German.
know what it is.
right. So this is the movie that was
Tennessee
also
Williams.
this was also referenced in Tenebrae with because
that's
the woman in the
right.
white dress is
Yeah.
almost exact like Elizabeth Taylor in that movie. And this has a very similar feel to Suddenly Last Summer as well, where the very
That could have been a March Madness movie.
yes, yeah,
Maybe
that was,
we'll have to do it again next year.
It is.
know?
Oh my god, that plot is
Yep.
Why?
So
I believe it's what? Is it Gore Vidal who wrote the screenplay
I
from a
believe
Tennessee
so.
Williams play? It's Elizabeth Taylor,
it's Monty.
Catherine Turner.
Catherine Hepburn.
Catherine Hepburn, yes.
Yes. Montgomery Clift
after right after his car accident.
Yep. It was one of the first things he did because she wanted him to start acting again because of the car accident. His face didn't have the mobility that it did. Yes, this is the second movie that feels very kind of like spiritually connected, I feel like, with Suddenly Last Summer, which again, starred Elizabeth Taylor. So just wanted to bring that little piece in. I cannot believe how people have rated this. Shame on all of you.
Seriously.
Shame on all of you.
Shame.
I hate being like, did you not understand it? But did you not understand it? Because
I think a lot of people don't. I sent y'all that review that I found yesterday.
Oh, the one from someone whose blog is called Scopophilia and completely misses actually any sort of scopophilic analysis? That one? That one?
Amanda, could you define scopophilia for our listeners who don't know what it means?
Oh, so gladly. Okay.
you just did like a little shake. She did like a little shimmy shake. She got so excited.
Happy dance.
Yep.
I have the book that expounds on this theory called Fetishism and Curiosity.
Of course you
Laura.
do.
Of course I do. So it's a term that was coined by Laura Mulvey. You might know it better as the male gaze. That is also what it is synonymous with. And it is literally the act of the camera as the male gaze and how it sexualizes female bodies. And she expands on that a lot more to not just be about the male gaze, but also how the camera itself can be scopophilic in terms of eroticizing and using the camera lens to sexualize things.
Which is not always a bad thing.
No, it could be really intentional sometimes. And she was talking about it because you get movies where a character just gets sexualized by the camera because the people making the movie are men and that's how they want to look at a woman, but it doesn't actually enhance the story and it doesn't make sense because they're being caught up in their own mishigas. But when you're cognizant of it and using it intentionally, if you look at something like George of the Jungle, Roadhouse, no, I'm looking at things that are the reverse, where it's looking at men and how the camera is sexualizing them and then how other people are responding to them. That's very intentional.
Okay, sorry. I derailed us a little bit. Caitlin,
No, not at all. I mean,
tell us about the ratings of this movie.
They're bullshit is what they are. So Rotten Tomatoes, it's 60% of 5 reviews, by the way. This movie has only been reviewed by 5 critics that are Rotten Tomatoes accredited, which is shocking. We have a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb. Shame. And on Letterboxd, a bit better with 3.5 out of 5 or 7 out of 10, but still feels a bit low.
Oh, yeah. This was a 5-star movie for me the first time I watched it. It's so incredibly put together.
It's a great movie.
It is. And let's dig into the meat of it, the goo, the viscera, the non-stain resistant box of fabrics in a section we call Enough is a Myth.
No. I've done enough. Enough is a myth.
Okay, so back to the 1970s, a decade known for its conspiracy thrillers and real-life political upheaval that we've discussed about a bit, some of which we see in this movie. Do you think that the movie is using the tropes of the conspiracy thriller fiction to keep the viewers in a state of confusion before the big reveal of what's really happening?
100%. As a fan of several 70s political thrillers, I particularly like The Conversation. Parallax View is fucking amazing, especially young, hot Warren Beatty. This movie really does incorporate those tropes, and because they are intentionally obfuscating what is really going on, Lisa's proximity to everything, and I'll talk about this more with the next question, but Lisa's proximity to everything really builds that up for you and makes you suspicious of what the fuck did she do that the police are questioning all of the people who came into contact with her? And what are we not seeing? What are the parts of the story that we are not privy to?
Yes, absolutely. I think they're tapping into a genre that is really having its moment. And you're right. I love the conversation as well. And it's keeping you, on your toes that you don't know. And I realize now going back that they actually do give away what's really happening in a blink and you'll miss it moment, that there is a quick snapshot of a body about 20 minutes into the movie, and they don't totally show you whose body it is, but if you look close enough, you realize it's her body.
Oh, I did not notice that.
I noticed that, and I was like, is there someone else, like, is there a serial killer? Are people being murdered? And then when we get to the reveal, I was like, oh, this is the same location as what that photograph was. Aha. So they give it away. You just have to be really noticing that.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I also like how this movie kind of goes, this is not a giallo.
No.
No. It is very clear because of the book buying scene in the airport where it's like, you think you know what's going on, or you think you know what we're playing with. You don't. Guess what?
Yeah, I think that it also incorporates tropes from gialli, especially at the beginning, like in the first half of the movie, to kind of trick you into thinking, oh, maybe this is a giallo. And it's absolutely not. And I think that is so effective.
Brilliant. There are moments where I'm like, are we going almost Cocteau, and that this is going to be surreal, and that she's something that isn't quite human, and that's why people are so afraid of her?
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Okay, so speaking of structure, the film is told in parallel timelines, jumping between the investigators questioning everyone who came into contact with Lise and her last day in Rome, so that the viewer has to put the clues together. Because of this, do you spend the first 2/3, give or take, and I think we really just covered this, wondering who Lise really is, if she's committed some great crime, perhaps she's behind some of this political upheaval that we've seen, and is that what they're, like, investigating?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially the first time I watched it, I was like, why is she in all of these places where these things are happening? Why is she behaving so oddly? Is she a political assassin? And she's looking for her target, but she doesn't necessarily know what he looks like. She just knows about his personality, and that's what she's going off of. Or maybe he's like carrying a specific thing. You literally have no idea what the fuck is happening. And especially that scene in the hotel when I don't remember if they say what nation the ambassador and the king are from, but it seems like it might be Saudi Arabia, given the political tensions and all of that. When she is watching this monarch and his whole entourage leave the hotel and she's separated from them by armed guards, you're like, is she about to assassinate this guy? And knows she's going to die from it? What the fuck? And yeah, again, when that reveal comes and you're like, oh my God, this was all just happenstance.
Yep.
That's a gut punch too.
That's such brilliant storytelling too.
Yep.
The man running through the airport, the bombing, she's there for all of this.
And yeah, they just do such a great job of setting that up where absolutely I thought that she had committed a crime. And then it starts to change a little bit. It's like, wait, what did happen here? Because it suddenly becomes like, wait, did she have a crime committed to her? And then you're like, she set this up? This was the whole point?
I think because I as I get there, I'm watching it thinking like, wow, these investigators, so dumb. That tracks. Yep, fully tracks. And I'm like, oh God, they're so bad at their jobs. They do such awful things. But then the moment when I realize she's the victim in this movie, is when they're beating up the guy who assaulted her in the car. And I'm like, nope, I'm on their side now. Yeah, you beat that guy up. Yeah, you throw him around.
The only time I like cops is when they're beating the shit out of sexual predators.
Same.
Hey.
Same. Okay, so bear with me now on this last question.
No, I love it.
Throughout the movie, Lise is looking for her soulmate, the man who will give her the release that she craves. She meets a bunch of men who want to use her body for sexual gratification, but that's not the release that she's looking for. She wants to be murdered. Finally, she connects with Pierre and seemingly seduces him to follow and murder her, while he claims also to just want sex. While in the act of murdering her, he becomes so overwhelmed that he forces himself on her sexually, while it also seems that Lise is turned on by her own death. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual from the American Psychological Association describes autoassassinophilia as someone who is aroused by the idea of being killed or putting themselves in deadly situations, while erotophonophilia, also known as lust murder, is someone who is sexually aroused by the act of killing. Can we read Lise as suffering from autoassassinophilia, and when she connects with Pierre, does it create this perfect folie of complementary taboo desires coming together?
I just got goosebumps from you reading all of that because it's so fucking smart. And it's something that I kind of like understood at a base level in my brain, but you laying it out like that really gives us the framework to understand Lise and what is going on for her. And yeah, I absolutely think that sex is of no use to her, as she says earlier in the film.
Repeatedly.
But sex and kink do not always overlap. You can be aroused by things and still not be interested in the sexual act. This is a kink for her, and her death drive is so strong that it's like she wants that final moment of ecstasy, that final moment of bliss as she is dying. And we don't really know why Pierre is the right person for this. But I love that earlier in the movie, Helen is like, my nephew is just your type. And she ends up being right.
So I almost had a question here about, do we think Mrs. Fiedke is like cluing us in to Pierre's tendencies?
She does say something about him having been in a psychiatric institution.
Sickly boy, poor boy. She's describing him in such ways that you're like, are we talking about someone who was a burgeoning psychopath? And that, like, Lisa's literally going through Rome trying to find the man who she can sense will kill her for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Normally I edit out pauses, but I'm leaving that one.
And that the narrative keeps putting them together. Like, he was the guy on the plane that was, you know, kept saying, I'm so afraid of her. I'm so afraid of her. And is it because he had that pull? It was that pull, that feeling of like, this person's desires are like, it's too much for me. I gotta go.
Right, because he's trying to fight those impulses within himself.
And she wants to bring them out.
Right. And it's really interesting because in all the interview shots, he seems nervous, understandably, because he's being interrogated by the police. But he also has this calmness about him. And once we get to the end of the movie, we understand why, because he has gotten what he needed, and he has given her what she needed. And there's a satisfaction in that has to be, on a very deep level, extremely fulfilling.
It's also that he speaks quietly, you know, unlike the other men who give off much more macho aggression.
And who go after her, who like pursue her as well.
And there's a whole like psychosexual thing we could get into in terms of how men are portrayed in movies, especially in terms of the pitch of their voices, who is giving what we would call like feminine affectations, which is him. And I'm not saying that they're not doing that intentionally. I do think they are. This is a movie from 1974, so I think we have some degree of homophobia here that's also playing into this, that he is the one who is being portrayed as more effete than Bill or Carlo or any of the investigators.
And I think it being handled by a gay director makes that even more effective.
Right. I think it's kind of intentional commentary also, because remember, the other man that she thinks is her soulmate is Andy Warhol.
Who is
Which probably
noted homo.
Yes, noted homo.
Very, very homosexual.
And I think that's very intentional, because obviously we've had the queer villains have been a thing for many, many years in cinema. And this is not being overt about it. It's more coded here. It's like particularly coded that you need to know film history to know that these are the characteristics that other movies have associated with gay men. Because it's obviously bullshit, but, and there are movies that do interesting things with that trope. There's a 1927 silent horror comedy called The Cat and the Canary, where the male lead, who is the victor at the end of the movie, is the one who is associated with, being more feminine and thusly, given bad logic like that, the gay one.
Right.
See, this would have been the essay I would have written about this in college.
Excellent. Well, now you just get to talk about it with your fellow chaotic bisexuals.
Exactly.
Speaking of chaos, it's time to play a game.
Hello. You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game.
Hooray! And I'm bringing back, even though this is not a Giallo, I am doing Giallo Jumble.
Woo!
Brian actually came up with this idea of when we were doing Giallo January, because he was like, all of these movies, they're like, number, animal, does something.
The titles are insane.
I was like, you could just do like a Mad Libs with it. And I went, well, that's a great idea. And I think because this movie in particular, as we said last week, if you read anything about it, if you look at certain posters, there are things like, was this woman like mad enough to, what was it, to somehow
plot her own murder?
Yes,
criminal.
and it was
Should
like
be criminal.
Yeah.
on the poster. The mystery has been ruined. That doing a synopsis of this where we fill in a couple of things will be a fun time. So, and I should have written this down and then let you all fill this in, but I didn't. Okay. Give me an adjective.
Svelte.
Svelte. All right.
I love that word.
That's a great word. Place.
Italy.
Correct. If I could get another adjective, there's going to be a lot of adjectives.
Nervous.
A noun?
Woman.
Do a more fun one. Do a fun noun. I reject woman. I want something more fun.
I reject womanhood and I reject
woman.
Ooh, car bomb.
Car bomb.
Is that fun enough, Caitlin?
That's so fun. Delightful. Absolutely delightful. Car bombs. We could get another adjective, please.
Sour. I just try to think of things that are off the wall to make this as ridiculous as possible, which is kind of how I've always played Mad Libs.
Yeah. Okay, another noun.
Amanda, you want to take this one?
Is an aesthete, I mean, that's a kind of person. It could be a noun or an adjective, probably.
Which one?
Yeah, if you called, like, the aesthete, yeah.
What's an aesthete?
I know,
Like,
we're all like...
Oh.
all of us, wait, what?
Stop being smart.
Okay, we'll not do that. Monk.
Excellent.
An occupation?
Race car driver.
By the way, an aesthete is a person who has Oscar Wilde gets associated with this a lot. He's not actually, but it's someone who has a very like specific appreciation for forms of art or beauty, and they're like pretentious about it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Douchebag.
So like Frank walking into an art gallery dressed as Andy Warhol saying derivative.
Yes.
Ongo Blagovian. Do you know I have that shirt, May? I have the shirt of Frank as Ongo saying derivative.
I have like a hanging sign of it that was made by the Big Happy Jewelry Company that I won in a contest.
Amazing. All right, just 2 more. I need a verb.
Running.
Oh, I just spelled that wrong, but that's fine. 1 N. Didn't wake up that long ago. And plural noun.
Ouija boards. I know, and I've got mine right there behind me.
Wonderful. All right. I keep also wanting to call her Liesel and be like, she is 16 and I'm 17. Every time I look at it.
God damn it.
Lise, a svelte woman, leaves her home to travel to Italy wearing an extraordinarily nervous dress. She is on a mission to find a very specific car bomb. Oh my God. Throughout her journey, she has a series of sour encounters with various people, including a man on a diet who says he needs a monk every day. Gotta get that monk.
I just imagined him like making out with Tony Shalhoub.
Meanwhile, the race car drivers are shown in flash forwards, already investigating her. This all ties in. It eventually becomes clear that Lise isn't looking for a car bomb, but rather someone to help her running. In a shocking climax, she finds her target, quote unquote, and gives the car bomb a precise Ouija board on how to finish the job. Oh my God. And we have now made a new summary that gives away nothing. Nothing.
I love this game. It's so ridiculous.
And on that fun note, how would we categorize this, though?
This is a Punisher. This is absolutely a Punisher. It's an incredibly well-made movie. It is beautiful to look at. The score is kind of entrancing. Those solo piano pieces are, even the ones that are upbeat, are kind of haunting, which I think is really effective. Elizabeth Taylor's performance is outstanding. This is a very different movie for her at this time. I've seen people compare the character to her character from Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which
yeah,
a little bit, but not really.
No.
But overall, the mood of this, there's some great humor at points, but overall, it's so tragic and it's so sad. And I think that makes it a Punisher. I think if you put this movie on at a party, it would totally fucking kill the mood.
Well, it depends on what kind of parties you're going to.
I'm going to say. I concur. I do think this is a Punisher. I think due to the subject matter, due to where this ends up, also just the subversion of the use of timelines and how that I do think has confused people maybe.
Oh no, how dare a movie not just go from point A to point B?
I know.
However am I supposed to interpret this?
Right. Oh, and then those parts where you think this is all happening that was what it was. I thought it was all happening on the same timeline, and then you realize it's not. And then you think, oh, she did these crimes.
Yep.
She did a crime. Not that they thought she was going to do a crime, but she did a crime.
The only crime she committed was stealing a scarf.
I'm gonna differ from you two and categorize this as kink.
Oh, yeah. You know what? You're right.
I'm gonna call this kink.
That was good. I mean, I would have said queer because of the director, but yeah, that is.
I think it's a very taboo kink that we're dealing with, but I do think the way it's presented and portrayed to us leads me to see this as kink and not just someone who is so depressed, but someone who is also aroused by this desire.
Yeah.
You have changed a lot of my reading of the movie because bringing this up. I love this.
I think this is what Robert Eggers was trying to do with Nosferatu.
I think you're right.
And the death drive that Lily Rose Depp's character
and
has in that movie.
That's why it didn't work for me, because I am obsessed with, like, so as I joked that that's the essay I would have written in college, it really is, though. That was a thing that I did. It was how like me analyzing as many movies and books as I could through different kink lenses. For shits and giggles.
I mean, why not?
But also because I do find it really fascinating. I think, the way that certain kinks that we don't talk about permeate through a lot of art and culture. I mean, just look at all of the death and the maiden motifs. I know I've talked about Bluebeard a lot, but why is that such, a lasting story? Beauty and the Beast, why did these speak to us so much? And what does that say, like, culturally about what's arousing? And especially the things we don't want to discuss. So that's why Nosferatu didn't work for me, because I do think about this so much that I'm like, see, this just feels kind of cold and sterile and isn't really, like, it doesn't really grasp why this is erotic to her.
Nope.
And I've rewatched the original Nosferatu since seeing the new one. And is it my favorite silent film? No. I think there are things that don't work in it, but that death drive and the eroticization of it is so much more prevalent in the silent film.
Yep. Yeah, and Dracula / Nosferatu has always been a story about deep longing, not only for a romantic connection, but with that death drive notion.
I mean, why did the French call the orgasm the little death?
Exactly. Well, any final thoughts beyond what we just talked about?
We'll say I need to put Nosferatu on our list, and we can just shit on it the whole time.
Oh my God, yes,
Absolutely.
please.
Beautiful dresses, beautiful gowns.
Beautiful dresses, beautiful gowns, beautiful cinematography.
What is
Don't
Aaron
like
Taylor
the color
Johnson's
grading.
accent?
Oh my God, thank you. Thank
I
you.
didn't know that he were actually British.
Okay. You are one of the only people who agrees with me on that. His performance in that movie is terrible. His accent is terrible.
I make fun
this
of
was
it
like
all
the
the
thing
time.
that everyone agreed on was like,
No,
my lad.
People like
Really?
him in that movie. And
Yeah,
I'm
just
like,
because he's so pleasing to look at.
he's whatever looking. He's like,
Oh no, I find him incredibly hot.
he's too plain. He's too plain attractive for me. That's not my. I like my. I like my men a lot fruity looking. Maybe a little evil.
I definitely have it. Like, he just like someone who kind of looks like they'll push you up against the wall a little bit. That's what he gives me. Kind of like, I'm just gonna push you up against the wall.
that's kind of how he looks in 28 Years Later.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he just doesn't.
I think his performance in 28 Years Later is much better than his performance in Nosferatu.
That
God,
accent,
yes.
Like, I know he's really British, but that accent is like
It's the
me
accent
drunk doing a British accent.
Yeah, it's the accent mixed with the performance. Anyway, we've derailed ourselves again. We'd prefer to rail ourselves, and let's. I think
I
with
mean,
that,
Caitlin clearly has just announced that they want that.
so I think it's time to wrap up with what awaits us next week.
Don't you see? He's got us now. Okay, this is exactly what he wants. We can't go to the police, not now. He's made sure of that. He's just out there and he's watching us and waiting. What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
And that brings us to the end of our episode. Thanks so much for joining us on this journey, fellow travelers. If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review wherever you can, because it helps more people find the show, and it makes us all tingly inside. Oh, that was a terrible Mae West. My namesake would be so ashamed of me. You can find us on Instagram at Pleasers and Punishers and on Blue Sky at Pleasers Punishers. You can also email us at pleaserspunisherspodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Everson Poe. You can find my music on Ampwall, Bandcamp, and streaming services as Everson Poe, 2 separate words. And you can hear me podcasting on both Tender Subject and Slayerfest 98. Caitlin, where can you be found?
I can be found I'm barely on Blue Sky, but I definitely on Instagram at Caitlin of the North and Cat of the North on Letterboxd.
Amanda, what about you?
You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky at Amanda Jane Stern. You can find me on Letterboxd at Witchy Wanderer. And you can also hear me podcasting on Don't Be Crazy.
Excellent. And next week's episode will be on John Carpenter's potentially last great movie, Ooh. In the Mouth of Madness. I know. I love this movie. Sam Neill is incredible in it. I cannot wait to talk about this. Sadly, Amanda will be off next week, but we will have a special guest joining us to dive into some cosmic horror. But until then, do some aftercare, clean your toys, set healthy boundaries, and...
one should always be kind, as long as one can. It may be your last chance.
Don't fucking touch me!